Yeah. Okay, again, I'm Keisha Jean, and um, my thoughts right now is that I live in Florida and I've been getting so much sunlight, um, compared to me having lived in the city, and apparently Florida is the sunshine state. Um, Obviously it is, but it's not just the sunshine state; it's the happy state. It's called the happy state, and the sunshine state, and people here are supposed to be really happy. But I've come from New York, so I'm not used to this much sunlight, and every day, um, I get a little bit drunk on the sun just because I'm getting so much. Especially when I put my sunscreen on and I come out during the hours where the sun is not too hot, but just enough. Like not just enough. Like it's just like at a good state, and um, people are supposed to be happier here. That's why I didn't mean to say sunshine state. Obviously, it's the sunshine state, the happy state. But it is called the sunshine state. And I get out here and I get drunk on the sun, and it is really nice. There are days where I go to sleep and I have visions of clouds and the sun and like the sky. Um, the parts that are really clean are really clean. Um, the parts that are not, but it's not too bad. Um, I'm losing train of thought because again I'm out in the sun and I'm always getting like so delirious off of it. But yes, it's supposed to be really good for depression. Like people living in places with high sun, is really good for depression. Like the sun conditions are basically um persistent and every day, and living in a sunnier place is good for more depressive people, and hence probably why people in sunny states are a lot happier. Um, it's good for healing those parts. But when I moved here, um, to New York, I was having, not New York, Florida. When I moved here from New York, I was having so many, so much homesickness that I wasn't expecting. I knew I wanted to, I was happy that I left New York, but I did get homesickness. I wasn't expecting that I would. I said that I wasn't going to get homesickness and that I was happy that I moved away. Um, but I did start getting a lot of it. And my brain was just taking me back to New York. Obviously, I go online and I'm watching content of like what's going on back in the city. And my brain kept taking me back there. And I noticed that yes, coming from New York to a sunnier place, there is an energy shift. There are things different about people from big cities coming to small towns, and my body was going through a wear and tear. Like I even now, it's just so much rest. Like carrying on. I'm always in a fast mode, and I always want to get something done and like boom, basically bang out whatever I'm about to do and then get it done and then be done. And then I want to do one goal and then go to the second goal and then go to the third goal, and then I just want to like move through all of them. And moving here is helping me. I knew I wanted to move slow though, so I like that I was self-aware. It's just that I wasn't expecting that I was going to be one of the it's not that I am the business core woman as well. Like that's who I was in New York, but I do think that the New York is good for creating plans and agendas and being a type of person to want to aspire to achieve more, whether you know it or not. And I did have a little bit laissez-faire in me about certain things. Not really. I think I'm lying. I always want to go and move. I think me being sick actually made me a little bit more laissez-faire. I had to slow down anyway because I got sick. But moving here kind of transitioned me into going slow to heal that illness. And even then, I ended up still kind of moving faster than I recognize. And I'm still getting used to like just going slow. Not that again that I was the type. I know there are like, I do have OCD. I think a lot of people in New York probably have OCD, and it's just because you go so fast. It's always just like you can get up and move. You can get up and go. There's always a system to be moved in within that city. So there's always like a system boot. You can always go bing 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 onto the next situation, into the next social arena. You can be social in public. There's always something to do. So you can always move, and you can always join a community, and you can always do something. And just going slow and just being again in a sunshine state, which again I wanted to get into learning as much as I can and helping out here as well, to get things done, obviously. And I don't want to mess that up. I didn't want to mess that up, and I don't want to mess that up. I want to help as much as I can. Being in I don't want to be like too cool for school. Being in Florida is different. I'm not saying again that I was like the prime city girl. I just grew up in the city. That's it. I was just conditioned in the city. It doesn't mean that I don't love nature and I didn't love outside and I don't love animals. I did try to kill a snake today. I said that one. I tried to kill a snake. But usually I don't try to kill any animals out here. I usually put food out for them to eat. I did try to kill one snake, bro. I did try to kill it. It's not dead. I don't think so. But I did try to kill it. That one particularly because I wasn't sure if it was poisonous or not. The red garden snake, I know those are not supposed to be poisonous, but there was another one I tried to kill. I saw a silver one. I didn't try to kill that one either. But there was one that I did try to, I probably would kill. Ooh. As well, I know that doe hunting is normalized out here, but not reptile. Anyway, I tried my best not to poison the ground by trying to poison the snake, but I know that sounds crazy. I'm having psychosis, but it's okay. I'm gonna let the sun clear it out for me. Yes, so I wasn't a city girl in the sense of like I hated outside or going outdoors, or that I wasn't social and I wasn't in social communities and my communities. I wasn't the woman that I grew up with, she partied a lot, but I had a different social circle and I did different things, and obviously, she raised me and I'm still me. And I lived a different life experience and everything that I did. I used to grow up with my cousins who also have mothers, and they are them, and they were born, and they're different. Um, and they do what they do, and I do what I do. Ooh. Okay. Anyway, um, I grew up in, again, the system of New York. So school systems are very big out there. Health systems are very big out there. So it's just natural to kind of like move through those things anyway. Even if you don't want to, you're gonna get dragged through it anyway, to be honest. So I am kind of used to that kind of social conditioning. And as soon as I moved here, all I wanted to do was move. And being out here is not because I don't love nature. I love nature. I used to beg my mom to move here when I was a little girl, but she wanted to stay, and she had her socialite corners, and they did what they did, and she didn't want to move, and she raised me out there. And so I got stuck in the city, but then obviously you grow up and then you learn that the city is so big and that there's so much to do, and you just get moving, you get social, and you just move. And this is, what I'm under the guise in as I'm like moving through time. And yeah, you learn that, the city is so big, and that you get to do what you do out in the city. And then I moved right when I was getting like up in my career, or starting to make tracks in my career. And it made me very sad, because I was like, but obviously, it's okay, because I was already like temping. So I knew that I wanted to have multiple jobs. I wanted to try multiple experiences. And I moved out here, and I'm not gonna lie, I do love the slow life. I wanted this life when I was a little girl, and I didn't get it when I was a little girl. And now I'm older and I'm here. And yes, it is my dream. I actually desire to be a more slow life girl. I just grew up in the city. But that social conditioning is still in me, because I've been in the city for like, since I was born, since I was 0 years old, 1 years old. And I actually was born in Connecticut, and then now I'm 31, and I lived in the city for 25 years. I grew up in the city for 25 years, and then I moved here about like 5 years ago. And I've been here for 5 years, and even just being here for 5 years, the city is really hard to get off of you. I'm not saying that I come here to like mess things up, but it really is. And even when people come here to Florida, you notice like what they want to do socially. It's really hard to get the city life off of you. You come here for a different type of life, and it's called the Sunshine State because we're supposed to be happy. It's really hard to get the city off of you. In actuality, you're supposed to just have a good time. And obviously I came to, they call New York the melting pot. It's a melting pot of people full of different cultures, and they call it Hell's Den. To be honest, because a city, again, beautiful, but in the dark, so much things happen in the darkness. People play around in darkness. People do things in darkness just because they're not registering so much sunlight, air pollution, rats infestation, bug infestations. People live in these concrete buildings that look like prison cells, kind of. And people do weird stuff. They're trying to survive and make money, and you catch them doing weird stuff to make money. And obviously the city gets so expensive, so you have to, like, if you're not getting rich by having a job, you have to pay rent, you have to pay bills. It's true. But just the method that people are willing to take out in the city. And yeah, in darkness, a lot of things happen if you let it, you know. And the devil does play a lot of tricks out there. I would say I'm religious, so I mentioned that, but you don't have to be. And the devil does play so many tricks, and yeah, I moved here to get slower and get sunlight. I didn't want to be in the dark anymore. I wanted to come out into the light. And there was a lot going on back at home. Again, mental illness was getting so crazy. I grew up in a disordered family. I'm not gonna lie, they came from disorders. The main ones, my mom is probably a psychopathic borderline. Some of the people around her were narcissists, maybe borderline. Some of them were either narcissist borderline, or some of them were narcissistic and psychopathic. Still pretty bad. And I grew up in that conditioning. What I tried to do was stay out my home, and I did stupid white girl stuff. That's why they kept calling me a white girl. I try to stay out. I'm not a white girl again. I am a Latin American girl. And I go out, and I went out and I joined the Muslim communities and the Asian communities as well, because those people weren't mean to me. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, and I like this too, with my dark skin and everything, bro. They weren't mean to me. And obviously I hung out a lot in the Latin community too, and it was an amazing, beautiful experience. It felt beautiful. It felt like being home. And I got to have that experience emancipating myself from my family, because they were kind of just like in a bubble. And I went through my girl meets world experience, and I loved it ever since. I loved just being out and on my own and my own adventures, and the way that I love to have fun. And I grew up with people who always wanted to be at a nightclub, or drinking alcohol, or smoking, or I can't say that I haven't been to a strip club, but they would go consistently, and it leaves your stomach boiling. Sometimes it's scary. That's how I grew up. I remember walking into rooms, you see a bunch of people drinking alcohol and smoking, and they're always like, "Come here, girl," and I used to get anxiety. And I was so young, so I was younger. And just the social conditionings of what that meant. And when I started getting really independent on my own, life was just better. I just got to do what I wanted to do, and it was, a positive experience for me. The world treated me nice. Ironically enough, you don't get treated right at home. You get treated right out in the world, bro. The world treated me nice, and I'm so grateful for that. And I am so grateful for, experiencing life here on earth. And the world became my party. The Ciara song, "Your body's my party." The world became my party, and it was beautiful. It was nice. And yes, being here in Florida is so nice. Sometimes I go to sleep and I have visions of clouds while I sleep. But again, the city is so hard to get off of you. I noticed that people who are a little bit perceptible to change are better off, but some people have been in the city again for longer than I have, and when they get out here, if they don't do the right things, obviously they're still going to be in the mindset of the city. They're not going to take in what they need to integrate from moving to a new place, and how to change those social conditionings, and how to even change your conditionings from those social situations, and what you're supposed to do. For the most part, you're supposed to stay as sober as you can. You're supposed to stay as sober as you can. because you have to get drunk from the sun, and you gotta let the sun cure you. And you have to let the sun heal your heart too. And again, I've always wanted to be out in nature since I was young. I just lived and grew up in the city, but I want to take advantage of being out here in the sun as much as I can. Yeah, I want to take advantage of it in a good way. I've always loved nature. It was just, again, that I lived in the suburbs back in New York too. So I grew up in Queens,